Hello everyone, Silver Duck here. Episode 17 came out much sooner than expected and it revealed so much, why the ducks are evil, the drill duck is on our side and who the true boss duck is. But before we get into the analysis, make sure to subscribe if you like the Ducks series and want to know more. The episode starts with a soldier killing a worker duck. These ducks aren't designed for battle but instead moving crates and supplies. We saw a similar worker in episode 15. This worker has a jetpack, robotic arms for picking up boxes and a hard hat. You can tell if a duck is a worker by its headgear. Once the soldier is done with this duck, the camera goes to another soldier that is fighting the ducks pretty skillfully. He kills a fast duck, a ram duck and a duck with some sort of robotic attachment. He then turns around and looks smug, but that look is wiped from his face when the Clickrick duck stops him from existing. After this we see some guy in a red shirt fighting two fast ducks. What's strange about this is that this guy does not look like a soldier. Why the heck is some ordinary guy in the middle of a full-on war? Speaking of soldiers, it looks like a lot of different armies are fighting here due to them all being in different uniforms. Anyway, after this guy is finished with the two fast ducks, we see another guy talking on the radio to somebody. He says they are about to get into the building, which was where the last episode ended. Now Brigalow, Gregory and two soldiers are in there, one of them being injured by the drill duck. While this guy is talking on the radio, a vehicle filled with soldiers passes by and then following it, we see a rocket truck. After this the guy on the radio gets vaporized by the grey duck using the evaporation gun which he stole from Gregory. This fool should not be in the battlefield. He is missing an arm and a jetpack. After this he says he needs to get out of there and pulls out a tiny backup jetpack from where his old one was. When he turns on this one, I was so surprised he could fly with it. Gee, that thing is shooting blue sparks out of it rather than proper flames, meaning it is broken. I don't think this should have been able to lift this fool 2 millimeters of the ground, it's that weak, but in the end it does the job. How realistic. Anyway, enough of my complaining, all I want is for a silver duck to be in the series. Oh wait, we are getting off topic. Anyways, next we see the soldiers walking to the front of the building trying to get in. The group includes red shirt guy, chef guy, other guy with black hair and cap guy. Cap guy tries to break through the blocking by kicking it, but he slips over. Then the black-haired guy starts to laugh at him. Sadly, this will be the last thing he does, as seconds later the drill duck comes through the ground right underneath him. Cap guy tries to escape, but the drill duck uses one of his new abilities. He extends his robotic tentacle from his back, which has a drill on the end, and uses it to fire a laser at Cap guy, turning him into a skeleton. The power of this blast is equivalent to the evaporation gun, which means the ducks have copied the technology. Then the drill duck shoots the chef guy with a red blast which sets him on fire. So I guess this duck can shoot from his drills now. He then turns around and sees red shirt guy and shoots from his main drill on his face. This shot is like that of a gun and it doesn't vaporize him or set him on fire like the other ones, but instead it simply kills him. Next we see an update of what is happening inside the building. Brigalow, Gregory and the soldiers are walking through some sort of weapons room. They see a bench with some weapons on it, so they take them, but then something unexpected happens. The elite quack himself comes out from his hiding spot and shoots from his eye, vaporizing the injured soldier's hand. Elite Quack is the YouTuber who analyzes the series Quacks by Clickrick. It's a very similar series to the Ducks and a lot of similar things happen. The Ducks in Quacks don't have beaks and are usually very robotic. Well, I have a question. Why is Elite Quack in this series? He does not belong here, but maybe the two series are connected. Maybe the Elite Quack found a way to travel from one universe to another. I think we will see more Quacks appearing in the future. I'm not referring to them as ducks just because I don't want people to get confused. By the way, Elite Quack is featured in the Quacks series too, but he gets killed. Maybe there are multiple Elite Quacks, who knows? Anyway, I think I'm going too deep into this. He was probably just put there as a reference, but there could always be a connection. After the Elite Quack runs away from Gregory and his knife, which was originally Ben's, then it became Tom's before Gregory got it after Tom's death in episode 13. We see another room where there seems to be ruined parts from human ducks. There is a dead one in the background. We can see another worker duck with robotic arms before he gets shot and killed by the injured soldier. I think this guy will die in the next episode because he is really weak and injured. The other soldier is not injured, but I think he will die as well, leaving the four main characters alive. I don't think any of the four main characters will die soon, but we all know that eventually one of them will die. I think if any of them will die, it won't be until the final battle. Out of the four, I think the most likely to die will be Gregory or Phil. Gregory is burned and damaged and has lost all his upgrades. Phil on the other hand hasn't really done anything very big in the series. He was always that member of the trio that didn't talk as much or fight as much. I think if it's either Gregory or Phil, it will be Phil. Anyway, after this worker gets shot, he falls to the ground and his jetpack explodes, leaving nearly anything left. The camera pans and Gregory takes a few steps forward before being attacked by a human duck. This duck is different. You may recognize his body. It is Tom's body. This duck has a robotic arm and is very fast. He tries to kill Gregory but gets shot by the injured soldier. His head comes off but the body keeps attacking. We learned this in episode 15 when the yellow suit duck detached from his robotic human body and it kept moving. The ducks aren't actually part of their human bodies. The bodies are just robots. So while this duck is dead, the body is not. Gregory stabs it and it falls to the ground. After this, the scene changes to another different room in the same building. This scene revealed why the ducks are so evil. In the corner we see Ben and Phil in handcuffs with tape over their mouths. After this, Gregory comes and starts to set them free, but then we see the biggest reveal of the entire Ducks series. We see a duck with a large human body. He is slightly shorter than the other large human ducks. This duck is the scientist duck. I used to think the engineer duck was a scientist, but it turns out he is not. This duck has a robotic attachment on his face just like the engineer duck, and he also is holding a potion. He is wearing tan pants and a white shirt or coat. On the table there is an ordinary duck. The scientist tells him that once he drinks the potion he will fight on the duck's side and try to kill humans. I always wondered why ducks were being so evil, but I guess I know now. The scientist says that most of the ducks have had this except him, the engineer, the bouncer and the pelican, meaning that they must be the true evil ducks. What if they aren't ducks? The pelican turned out to not be a pelican, so what if the evil ducks are something else? Who knows? Anyway, next we see the scientist feed the potion to this duck and he becomes evil. The duck then walks off. The scientist duck turns around and a knife is thrown at him. This was Gregory's knife. I thought it killed him, but it actually hit his robotic eye thing. Next we see Gregory set Ben and Phil free, finally after 7 episodes. Ben and Phil say that the scientist was going to turn them into ducks. This means that some of the ducks were humans before, but they ended up being turned into ducks. These are probably all the talking ducks. If you remember the old episodes, the ducks' only form of communication was quacks, but nowadays they can talk. Next we see them turn around and then we see the scientist duck starting to stand up. Gregory, Ben and Phil start to run, followed by the scientist duck. This is the last time we see them this episode. In the next scene we see a soldier with 2 batons hitting a red worker duck until it is dead. Red ducks are usually workers. Then we see the upgraded drill duck in front of him. This foolish guy flee towards him with his jetpack, but the drill duck is too fast and he shoots blue flames out of his hand drill, instantly turning this poor guy into a skeleton. I think this ability is OP. Then out of nowhere another soldier with a jetpack flies by the drill duck, hitting him on the back of the head with a baton. The drill duck falls to his knees and then everything comes back to him. All of a sudden he remembers the scientist giving him the potion and his drills. The drill duck comes out of the memory and then looks around. He realizes how many innocent people he has killed and the horrible things he has done. He then feels anger for the scientist. After this, flames burst out of his jetpack and he flies off saying one final thing: I will kill him. Then the episode ends. I think in episode 18 the drill duck will try to kill the scientist duck but will fail and get heavily damaged, or maybe he will succeed. I think no matter what happens he will save our group of heroes and then become their friend. Hopefully you enjoyed the video and I will see you next time. Goodbye for now.